Hello and welcome. You're tuned into Revision Hub with Jazzy J, continuing with education. Last video we looked at material deprivation, cultural deprivation and labelling. Please, before we begin, quickly jot down what you remember, and you'll only know this if you did the following mantra, which was revised, rested, tested and repeated yourself. This video is a long video, so keep hold and stay strong. In this video we'll be looking at gender. Key statistics which are important to know is that in the 1980s, girls' education attainment began to improve. In the 1990s, boys outperformed girls at all levels of the education system. David argues that the media makes it sound so easy that girls did well, then boys, but in reality it's so difficult to actually find out this trend. And there's something known as a bedroom culture when we look at gender. Boys are active, they want to go out, they want to play, whilst girls had developed something known as a bedroom culture where they read, they develop their communication skills. When girls develop such skills, they do much better in education as opposed to boys because of the bedroom culture that they develop. Simply because in the economy and the world around us, they demand skills of communication and interpersonal skills, which girls have, but due to boys being active, they're unable to have these skills which girls develop during the bedroom culture age that they have. Okay, so we're going to look at a few points why girls are better than boys and why they're outperforming. First is the changes in laws and policies. The National Educational Panel introduced the national curriculum, which made maths and science compulsory for both boys and girls till the age of 16. Okay, so this meant what? Pause and have a think. Okay, let me reveal. This meant that girls could not opt out of male-centric subjects. So also coursework was introduced. Douglas found out the 54% of difference between girls and boys doing coursework. Brackett L, and we have Arnold as well. Arnold found that girls have a positive attitude towards education, so they do much well. Can be supported by Sanderbaran. And then we have Brackett L over here. And Brackett L argues that girls focus on their presentational and interpersonal skills, hence why they do better because they want to improve their work again and again, time again. Okay, we look at McNally Adele's subject, which shows us that girls are better as opposed to boys because they try to teach girls differently and boys differently. They taught girls maths while boys English, and they found out that girls did better when this sort of teaching really differed, so they did much better. So here are reasons, particularly, why girls do better than boys. You can make notes on this, it'll be very helpful, and learn them, please. External factors could be reasons why girls do better than boys. Can you think of external factors? Pause and have a think. Jot them down. Let me reveal. Number 1, changes in laws and policies. We looked at a few laws and policies in the family and household topic. What laws and policies do you think allow girls to do better within education? Okay, so girls, there's Sex Discrimination Act and Equal Pay Act. Girls see their future in terms of paid work, so they work harder because they know, okay, now we're getting paid more, we're getting appreciated more, so they work harder within education so then they can get those top jobs. However, there's still a gender pay gap, and a very small percentage of women's actually holding a very strong position within any top company, so it's important to take note of too, as probably a criticism why it doesn't work. But that's another topic by itself. Changes in aspirations. Okay, so we've got Mac Robbie, who did content analysis of magazines. He looked into magazines and found out that girls before it was all about love, and now the magazines that produce now is more about education. So we can clearly see a change within aspiration. Sharp did interviews of women back then and women now, and then the difference was that girls had changes in aspiration. Before it was all about love, now it's fully education. So this causes girls to do better than boys, and this is an external factor. Okay, so number 3, position and family structures. Single parent families, so Suba and Murray. Can you remember the statistical evidence? Pause and have a think. Okay, let me reveal. Suba found that 59% of African Caribbean and 22% of white, as Murray found, were single parent families. And as them being single parent families and due to the widened structures, women see the need to be financially stable. So as a result, they work harder within the education just so they are financially stable. And again, that link can be made again. You can see everything's interlinkable with each other. Internal factors, however, some would argue, as opposed to external factors, are the cause why girls do better than boys. Number 1 is coursework. We looked at coursework and we looked at sociologists. We have got WISE, which is Women in Science and Engineering, which are policies that develop to ensure that girls do better, especially in science, engineering, and all those STEM subjects. The national curriculum changes, which meant that girls could not opt out of male-centric subjects and they had to go to do female-centric. They couldn't opt out on male-centric subjects and do female-centric and oriented stereotypical subjects. GIST, again, girls in science and technology, all very STEM related WISE and GIST policies. So this is very nice because we can see WISE and we can see GIST. So we can clearly see these two policies or other policies put in place too. However, criticisms can be by verbal abuse, which I'll be looking at later on. Okay, so gender, primary socialization. Oakley found out that parents encouraged or discouraged a child's behavior based on their gender. Statham found out that some parents tried to avoid this gender stereotypical ideology. However, they failed because the media and the way things and clothes were bought, it made it impossible. There's secondary socialization, where Murphy and Elwood, sorry, I had to add that, I forgot to add that in. Murphy and Elwood found out that before girls went to school, they knew the differences. They knew that girls do not play football. They knew that boys played football. So the differences were elementary and can be seen from a secondary socialization, and primary was reinforced there. And Skeleton found that in school, stereotypes are reinforced through things like verbal abuse and how teachers would tell, oh, boys, can you do the chairs, and tell girls to leave the chairs. In some schools, this actually does happen. Peer group and media. Cornwall found out that the peer group reinforced to them that, oh, you need to be male, so you need to be tough, you need to be strong. Whilst Emma, girls were told that, oh, it's fine to be weak, it's fine to be passive. And looking at media, we have Turntable and Flogut Hetri, who found out that media presents women as domestic chores, playing the traditional and stereotypical role, whilst men are the breadwinners. Turntable further found that men are hardly presented nude within the media, as opposed to how women are actually presented within the media. Religious reasons, we can look at Miller and Hoffman. Miller and Hoffman found out that women are more religious as opposed to men. This is because women are domestic chores, they don't have an identity, so they go towards religion to seek an identity. And there's much more on Miller and Hoffman when we look at the religion topic, so I'll try to link them together, so just stay tuned for that video too. And Watson found out that Muslim women wear hijab because this prevents them from feeling as though they are sexual objects. So these are some reasons which I've explained thoroughly. Why do boys do not do well? Okay, so Paul Will's label. So Paul Will's, first let's start with Beck. Beck argues that girls are labelled positively, whilst Paul Wills argues that boys are labelled negatively with the laddish subculture. And as we looked in the previous video, once the label is internalized, it becomes a self-fulfillment prophecy. As a result, these boys begin to join a subculture. Epstein found out that boys who work hard, they face peer pressure and they are bullied. As a result, they no longer do well because they fear that they will be bullied again. As a result, they form a subculture, which is anti-school subculture as opposed to a pro-school subculture. Ford et al. And Diana found out that boys face a clash between who to choose, whether to choose the education or to choose their friends, and they chose their friends. Diana in particular looks at white working class boys, so it was quite focused on a particular ethnic group there. Verbal abuse. Cornwall found out that boys did verbal abuse in order to reinforce that their traditional gender identities. They called boys dickhead achievers, cult, and stuff like that. Were horrible names were verbally abused to them, and that caused boys not to do well and form that anti-school subculture. Sue Lee, again, sorry, this is not linked to boys, but it could link to girls, and verbal abuse, as I said, I'll mention, is how girls are called as cults, sluts, just if they feel as though they are sexually active, but actually they are not. So these are forms of verbal abuse which can cause girls and boys both to actually not do within their education. Haywood found out that teachers, male teachers in particular, they told boys off if they behaved like girls, they told boys off if they achieved lower, and as a result of them being told off, they don't like it, it hurts their ego. As a result, they probably just don't do as well as they want to do or can do. Gender subject choices. Francis and Norman argues that girls are given choice to conform, boys are given choice to be active. As a result, the difference in choice causes girls to choose feminine subjects whilst boys to choose much more heavy-duty subjects like science and technology. But due to Wise and Gist, we can argue that this is reducing. Brownie and Rose gender domains where there are specific tasks and activities associated with the gender. For example, things like nursing is associated with girls, whereas technology, engineering is associated with boys, and that's what I mean by gender domain. Media, family, and friends again can really influence that. I looked at media, peer group, and all the other things, primary, secondary socialization on my previous slide. And male gaze, and this is theory of skeleton's male skeleton, I think. Male gaze theory argues that girls look at boys through the male gaze. As a result, they choose feminine subjects in order to satisfy that male gaze. John A. found out that when girls chose science, technology, engineering, or maths type of subjects, in the future he was there to select the subjects. Constantly reminded them and constantly asked them, are you sure you want to take that subject? Are you sure you want to take the subject? And that could reinforce through this theory that gender subject choices still really exist, and it's a barrier in which girls face, so they do not choose science, technology, or engineering or maths type of subjects. The gender policies that support this, there's something known as same-sex teaching. So for boys, Dads and Sons campaign, where dads and sons both read together, encourage boys to read, because DSFC found out that boys are underperforming because they don't know how to read technically. So it's as simple as that. Champion scheme, again, a scheme put in place to ensure that boys actually read. So same-sex teaching. So there are two types of discourse, authoritative and disciplinarian. Disciplinarian is when I talk to a student and I'm disciplining them that, oh, put your tie on properly, that's disciplining. Authoritative is when I use a loud, bad voice. I'm being authoritative. Okay, but Beck said that 2/3 of the children said that gender does not matter. So by same-sex teaching, 2/3 said that gender does not matter. So this policy can be criticised by Beck, and you can use the key terms of authoritative and disciplinary discourse. What we've learned about gender. Next video looking at ethnicity. Till then, revise, rest, test and repeat yourself, the content in this video and all other videos that I've put in place. And do not forget to love Canva, because I made these slides using Canva. Like my videos, subscribe. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm not getting many subscribes, so please subscribe. Comment on the comment section if you've got any questions to ask. And please press the bell icon to never miss a new video of mine. And also, as I mentioned in my previous video, I'm now on Instagram. You can scan the name tag. Please follow me. And if I get enough followers, I can do live videos which will help you within your education. I can do Ask Me Questions where you can clear your doubts and we can have like a one-to-one, like proper drop-down session. Okay, thank you so much for your time. And stay tuned to Revision Hub with Jazzy J. Thank you so much.